Hello, friends. Today I am going to talk to you about Mother Mary, her story of faith, courage, and love. So, long ago, in a small town of Nazareth, there lived a young woman called name Mary. She was not a queen, she did not live in a palace, she had no army, no great wealth, and no important position in society. She lived a simple life. Mary prayed, she worked, she cared for her family, she trusted God. And although her life seemed ordinary, God has chosen her for something extraordinary. One day, while Mary was at home, something happened that she could never have imagined. An angel named Gabriel appeared before her. Mary was frightened. She had never seen an angel before. But Gabriel said, "Don't be afraid, Mary. God is pleased with you." Mary listened carefully. The angel told her that she would have a son and that she was to name him Jesus. This child would be very special. He would be called the Son of God. Mary was confused. How can this happen? She wondered. But Gabriel explained that this would happen through the power of God. Mary could have been afraid. She could have asked, "Why me?" She could have refused. Instead, she trusted. She answered with humility, "I am the servant of the Lord. Let it be done to me according to your word." Those words showed Mary's great faith. She did not know everything that would happen. She did not know what difficulties were waiting for her. She did not know how people would react. But she trusted God one step at a time. And that was the beginning of Mary's extraordinary journey. Soon afterwards, Mary traveled to visit her relative Elizabeth. Elizabeth was also expecting a child. When Mary arrived and greeted Elizabeth, something beautiful happened. Elizabeth felt great joy and recognized that Mary has been blessed by God. She said to Mary that she was blessed among women and blessed was the child she would bear. Mary's heart filled with gratitude. She praised God. "My soul magnifies the Lord," she said. Mary understood that God had not chosen her because she was powerful or famous. He had chosen her because she was humble and willing to trust Him. Mary's happiness was not only for herself, she was happy because God was doing something wonderful for the world. She stayed with Elizabeth for some time, helping her. This tells us something important about Mary. Even though she had received an extraordinary calling, she did not become proud. She served others. She cared for Elizabeth. She remained humble. Months passed, then came difficult news. Mary and Joseph had to travel to Bethlehem because of a census. The journey was not easy. Mary was expecting a baby. The roads were long and the journey was tiring. When they finally reached Bethlehem, they discovered that there was no comfortable place for them to stay. There were no room for them in the usual guest accommodation. So Mary and Joseph found shelter where animals were kept. And there, in that humble place, Mary's baby was born. She wrapped him in cloth and placed him in a manger. His name was Jesus. The Son of God had entered the world not in a palace, but in simplicity. Mary looked at her little child. Perhaps she remembered the angel's message. Perhaps she wondered what kind of life this child could would have. She did not know everything, but she trusted God. That same night, shepherds were watching their sheep outside Bethlehem. Suddenly, angels appeared to them. The shepherds were terrified, but the angels told them not to be afraid. They announced that a Savior has been born. The shepherds hurried to Bethlehem. When they found Mary, Joseph, and the baby Jesus, they were filled with wonder. They told Mary what the angels had said. Mary listened quietly. The Bible tells that she treasured these things in her heart and thought deeply about them. Mary was a mother who listened. She remembered. She reflected. She prayed. She did not know need to understand everything immediately. She kept God's mysteries in her heart. Sometime later, visitor come from far away. They were wise men who has been seen a special star. They believed that a great king has been born. They followed the star until they found Jesus. They bowed down before him and offered precious gifts. Mary watched. She saw strangers from distant lands coming to honor her child. What must she have felt? Wonder, joy, perhaps also a sense that her son's life would touch people far beyond Nazareth. Mary's child was not only for one family, he had come for the whole world. But Mary's peaceful moments did not last. King Herod heard about the child who had been born and became afraid that Jesus might someday become a king. She wanted the child killed. Joseph was warned in a dream that danger was coming. So Joseph took Mary and Jesus and escaped to Egypt. Imagine Mary's journey. She was a young mother carrying her baby into a foreign land. She did not know what exactly the future would bring, but again she trusted God. She protected her child. She endured uncertainty. She continued forward. Eventually, when the danger had passed, Mary and Joseph returned and they settled in Nazareth. There, Jesus grew. Years passed. Mary watched Jesus grow a little boy into a young man. She must have seen him learn, work, pray, and help others. She knew his kindness. She knew his love. She knew that there was something special about him. But she also knew that his mission would not always be easy. One day, Jesus left home and began his public ministry. Mary continued to trust him. One of the most important, beautiful moments involving Mary happened at a wedding in Cana. Mary and Jesus were invited in the celebration. During the wedding, the host ran out of wine. In that culture, this would have been deeply embarrassing for the family. Mary noticed the problem. She went to Jesus. Although his response showed that the time for his public mission has arrived, Mary trusted him. She then told the servants, "Do whatever he tells you." Those simple words were among the most important things Mary ever said. Do whatever he tells you. Mary was pointing people towards Jesus. She was not asking them to follow her instead. She was encouraging them to trust him. Jesus then performed his first great sign, turning water into wine. The celebration continued, and Mary quietly remained a part of the story. But Mary's greatest test was still to come. Jesus was arrested, he was mocked, he was beaten, he was condemned, and finally he was taken to the cross. Imagine Mary standing there. She was his mother. She had held him as a baby. She had watched him take his first steps. She had cared for him. She had been seen him grow. And now she watched him suffer. A mother's heart must have been broken. Yet Mary did not run away. She stayed near Jesus. She stood at the foot of the cross. She could not remove his sufferings. She could not stop the soldiers. She could not change what was happening. But she could remain with him. And she did. Sometimes love cannot fix a painful situation. Sometimes love simply stays. Mary stayed. Her presence was an act of courage. She stood with her son during his darkest hour. Then came the morning that changed the world. Jesus rose from the dead. The sorrow of Good Friday was not the end. Death did not have the final word. The disciples began to understand that Jesus has conquered death. Mary's story also entered a new chapter. She had walked through uncertainty. She had experienced joy. She had known fear. She had carried a child. She had watched him grow. She had followed him through his ministry. She had stood beside him suffering. And now she lived in the light of resurrections. Mary's faith, what makes Mary special? Now that not that her life was easy, it wasn't. She experienced uncertainty. She traveled when she was tired. She lived through danger. She watched her son suffer. She experienced sorrow. But through everything, Mary continued to trust God. Her strength was not the strength of someone who never felt afraid. Her strength was the courage to trust even when she was afraid. Mary teaches us that faith does not mean knowing exactly what will happen tomorrow. Faith means trusting God even when tomorrow is unclear. Mary is remembered by Christians around the world as a mother of Jesus and as a loving mother who points people towards God. People turn to her in prayer because they see in her a mother who understands human pain, uncertainty, joy, and love. A mother does not need many words to understand her child. Mary knew what it meant to care for someone. She knew what it meant to worry, what it meant to hope, and what it meant to let go. And she knew what it meant to remain faithful. Mary's life give us many lessons. She teaches us humility. She did not seek fame. She simply said yes to God. She teaches us trust. When she did not understand everything, she continued forward. She teaches us service. After receiving the angel's message, she went to help Elizabeth. She teaches us courage. She remained near Jesus during his final sufferings. She teaches us love. Her whole life was centered around caring for Jesus. And teaches us hope. And when everything seemed lost at the cross, God's plan was not finished. Imagine Mary at the end of an ordinary day in Nazareth. The house is quiet, the work is finished, the evening sky is beginning to darken. Mary sits peacefully. Perhaps she remembers the many things that have happened: the angel, the Bethlehem, the shepherd's journey, years of raising Jesus, wedding at Cana, cross, resurrection, and so many memories. So many joys, so many tears, and perhaps in the quiet of the evening, Mary simply prays. She does not need a long speech. She has learned that sometimes the deepest prayer is simply trust. God, I am in your hands. That was the spirit of Mary's life. She said yes, she trusted, she served, she loved, she stayed faithful, and through her simple yes, she became part of one of the greatest stories ever told. Mother Mary teaches us to have a trusting heart. When we are afraid, help us remember that God is near. When we do not understand what is happening, help us to be patient. When someone needs our help, teach us to serve with love. When life becomes difficult, give us courage to remain faithful. When we experience joy, teach us to be grateful. And when we face sorrow, remind us that sorrow is never the end of God's story. Help us, like you, to say, let it be done according to God's will. Help us to follow Jesus with a humble heart. Help us to love our families. Help us to care for those who are hurting. Help us to forgive. Help us to hope. And at the end of each day, help us place our lives peacefully in God's hands. Amen. The story of Mary reminds us that great things can begin with a simple yes. Her life was not without fear or suffering, but she trusted. And through her faith, humility, courage, and love, Mary became a mother whose story continues to bring hope to millions of people around the world. And so we come to an end of this journey through the life of Mother Mary. Let us pause for a moment and remember the woman behind this beautiful story. Mary was a woman who of simple faith, but her yes changed the world. She said yes when God called her, even when she did not understand everything. She trusted through uncertainty. She remained faithful through hardship. She loved Jesus through every moment of his life, from the quiet days of his childhood to the sorrows of the cross. Mother Mary, place us gently in the hands of God. Guide us, protect us, and help us trust His plan. May your heart always remain close to Jesus. Thank you for spending those moments with us. May God bless you, your family, and everyone you love. Until we meet again, may peace remain in your heart and may Mother Mary always watch over you. So, I think that you all enjoyed the story of Mother Mary, and I thank you for listening the same and watching the same.